know that moment when you open your bank account at the end of the month, and it's like a magic trick, but the magician has vanished with your money? Yeah, that one. Happens to the best of us. And that's why you're here, right? Welcome, fellow money magicians, to our guide on how to keep your cash from pulling a disappearing act. Today, we're going to share 7 tips to help you control your spending, save more, and live a better, richer life. And by richer, we don't just mean financially. Intrigued? Stick around to find out what we mean. Now, before we dive into our treasure trove of tips, do us a small favor. If you like what you see during this video, hit that like button, and don't forget to share with your friends, family, or your magic-hating bank account. And if you want to join our community of smart savers, hit subscribe. We promise, no rabbits out of hats, just practical advice. Alright then, let's get started on our journey to stop your money from doing a Houdini. Let's kick things off with our first tip, cash stuffing. It sounds like a Thanksgiving turkey technique, doesn't it? But trust me, it's far less messy and it doesn't involve any poultry. The idea is simple. You take your salary, withdraw it in cash, and divide it into separate envelopes for each of your expenses. Rent, groceries, utilities, that secret chocolate stash, each gets its own envelope. See this? This is your rent envelope. Once it's empty, that's it. No borrowing from the groceries envelope. Sorry, no extra pizza this month. This method is like a reality check for your spending. It's much harder to part with physical cash than it is to swipe a card or click, buy now. Plus, it's an excellent way to avoid those impulsive online purchases that seem to multiply when you're not looking. You know, like gremlins, but with shopping bags. Alright, now that we've stuffed some envelopes and potentially saved some dough, let's move on to our next money-saving tip. And speaking of dough, this next one involves a different kind of brewing. How many of you can't start your day without a cup of joe from your favorite coffee shop? Don't be shy, I know I'm not alone here. Well, prepare to be latte shocked. This is your wallet's arch nemesis, the daily coffee shop latte. Now, don't get me wrong, I know the allure of a perfectly crafted cup of joe, but let's do some quick math. Say, your daily coffee sets you back $5. Times that by 365, that's $1,825 a year. On coffee. Now imagine if you brewed your own coffee at home. You're looking at potential savings of over $2,000 a year. That's a lot of beans, and I'm not talking about the coffee kind. Think of it this way, you're trading a few lattes for a beach vacation. Or a new laptop. Or hey, even more coffee beans if you're really that addicted. Not a bad trade, right? Now that we've brewed up some savings, let's switch gears a bit. Our next tip isn't about cutting back, but rather about being smart with what you already have. And it involves some modern-day trading. Say hello to bartering apps, your new best friends in the quest for savings. But don't worry, no livestock or bales of hay are involved, unless that's what you're into. Our next tip is all about bartering up. Think of it as a modern-day swap meet but without the hassle of lugging your stuff around. With bartering apps, you can exchange those unwanted items gathering dust in your home for things you actually need. Got an old blender you never use? Swap it for a lamp. Have too many lamps? Swap one for, well, anything but another lamp, hopefully. Not only does this save you money, but it also helps declutter your home. It's like a 2-for-1 deal, tidier space, fuller wallet. And who knows, you might just find that rare comic book you've been searching for, traded for a lamp. Stranger things have happened. Now that we've swapped our way to savings, let's tackle another foe of our finances, social media. Yes, you heard me right. Social media, our friendly neighborhood time sucker, can also be a wallet drainer. But don't worry, our next tip doesn't involve you deleting your accounts. Just a little bit of cleansing. Social media. It's like that friend who shows you all the cool things you should buy, but forgets to remind you about your bank balance. Not so friendly now, huh? Our next tip is all about doing a social media cleansing. And no, it's not as dramatic as it sounds. It's about unfollowing those influencers who make you want to buy things you don't need. See that? It's like turning off the tap on a leaky faucet. And speaking of late-night leaks, here's a bonus tip for you night owls. Avoid using Instagram before sleep. Because we all know that late-night scrolling can lead to late-night shopping. And let's be honest, do you really need another pair of novelty socks? Alright, now that we've taken control of our social media spending, let's move on to our next money-saving tip. This one might surprise you, especially if you love the sound of a spinning laundry machine. Get ready to ditch your washing machine dryer, folks. Or at least the dryer part of it. Now, this may sound like a sock shrinking disaster waiting to happen, but hear me out. Our next tip is about ditching the washing machine dryer. Dryers can be a massive energy drain, and your electricity bill will thank you if you switch to drying racks or clotheslines. And let's face it, there's something strangely satisfying about seeing your clothes flap in the wind. It's like they're waving goodbye to those high energy costs. Not to mention, your clothes might last longer too. So, in a way, you're saving money twice over. Take that, dryer. Now, I hope that didn't leave you hanging. And speaking of hanging, let's move on to our next point, which involves cutting something loose. And no, it's not about breaking up with your partner. Though if they're costing you as much as this next item, you might want to reconsider. Yep, you guessed it. Our next tip involves saying goodbye to your cable TV subscription. Let's face it, in this day and age, with streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and Prime, cable TV is like that old, bulky, oversized cell phone from the 90s. It's nostalgic, but not really practical. A cable TV subscription can cost up to $100 per month. That's $1,200 a year. Now think about what you could do with that money. A new gaming console? A nice weekend getaway? Or maybe just investing it for a rainy day? All of these options sound more exciting than 200 channels of infomercials and reality TV reruns. So, if you haven't already, consider cutting the cord on cable. Your wallet will thank you. Now, our final tip isn't about cutting something out, but rather, embracing a challenge. Think of it as a financial fitness boot camp, without the burpees. Trust me, it's easier on the knees. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the 30-Day No-Spend Challenge. The 30-Day No-Spend Challenge. It sounds intimidating, I know. Like a financial equivalent of going cold turkey. But it's not as scary as it sounds. The idea is simple. For a whole month, you only spend money on necessities, bills, groceries, rent, or mortgage. No takeouts, no online shopping, no impulse buys. Just the basics. Now, I can hear some of you asking, but what about my daily coffee? Remember our earlier tip? Homebrewing, my friends. Trust me, it'll taste even better when you know how much you're saving. Doing this challenge can be an eye-opener. It shows us how careless we can be with our money, and encourages more responsible spending. Think of it as a diet for your wallet. And the best part? No calorie counting involved. So, are you up for the challenge? It might just be the push you need to start making those serious savings. Alright, my frugal friends, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've dived into the world of cash stuffing, home brewing, bartering, social media cleansing, dryer ditching, cable cutting, and even taken on the 30-Day No-Spend Challenge. Phew, that's a lot of saving. Remember, these aren't hard and fast rules, but rather, tools to help you think about your spending habits. The goal is not to live a life of deprivation, but to make thoughtful decisions about your money. And if those decisions lead to an extra vacation or a fuller savings account, well, I'd say that's a win, wouldn't you? Now, if you've enjoyed this video and found our tips useful, or if you just enjoyed my outstanding dry humor, please hit that like button. And don't be shy, share this video with your friends, family, neighbors, your mailman. Basically, anyone who could do with saving a few bucks. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And lastly, let's continue this conversation in the comments section. Tell us about your own money-saving tips or your experience with the 30-Day No-Spend Challenge. We're all here to learn and grow together. Thanks for watching. And remember, it's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you save. Until next time, stay savvy.